So I want to take y'all back to 2017. It's the year my dad passed. It's also the year that I closed my business, my barbershop down in the same month. I miss my dad. My dad and my mom broke up or divorced when I was a baby. And so I grew up my whole life uh, going to my dad house and living in my mom's house. Uh, them being together would have been weird for me because I'm just used to them being separated. Um, and that's, how it was. At times I had to deal with the dislike for one another in regards to them telling me, like, how they felt about one another. They never just cursed each other out or truly went vile with killing one's character, but I knew that there was a tension that they had for one another. Thank God over the years as I became an adult, that tension each time started to wear down. But anyway, just giving you a little background, in regards to my upbringing with my mom and my dad. Man, my dad was he was a communicator. Like he loved conversation. He loved talking to people. He loved meeting new people. He loved basketball, which is why I love basketball. My brother loved basketball, and he was heavy into entrepreneurship. Now, with that being said, he didn't have any businesses. My dad was a dreamer. He had a lot of dreams. Like he'll think of ideas and tell people other ideas and things that they can do with their business, but he just never none of the businesses that he thought about or talked about never launched. My dad had so many businesses that he'll, communicate to me from restaurant to trucking business to vending machines to ATMs. The vending machines he did do in the later part of his life. Him and his fiance at the time did vending machines, and they did it, but it wasn't making a lot of money. So I think they kind of sold the business or whatnot. But 2017, my dad passed away from cancer. This was his second round, or should I say second bout, I guess, with cancer. He had it 2 years before that, and it went into remission, and we was thankful. Like, man, we were so happy. He went through the chemo, um, and it really took a like put a load on him. Like lost the hair he did have left, and you could see it on his face, kind of aged him. And my one thing about my dad like really pride himself in how he looked. Like my dad was a ladies' man, and so he knew he was handsome. And he'd say he wouldn't. He'd say, "I'm not arrogant. I'm just confident." Like a girl, she say she don't want to be with me. Okay, fine. You don't gonna take me long to find somebody else if I want to be with somebody else. That's just how he looked at it. He said he could. He was one of the ones that can sell water to a well. He didn't need. He wasn't running behind a female. Although he did love women, he had women that he loved, and he would lower, I guess, his ego to try to make it work because he did want to find a wife, but my daddy just was like, it's more fish in the sea. You know, I can find somebody if I need to, but um, that first round of the cancer, it really took a load on him, and we were so thankful that it had went into remission and he was could get back to his normal self, normal way of being. Well, in 2017, he went to the doctor and they saw that the cancer had shown again. And of course, the doctor's like, "Hey, the best thing to do would just do another round of chemo. That way we can, possibly shrink it." And because my dad, it was so hard. I think that first chemo therapy treatment he went through, and then afterwards, the research he was doing on like cancer therapy and healing and things of that nature, he had a mindset to do holistic. And so I'm all for that. But another thing about my dad didn't really have money like that, you know. So just a little backstory. Of course, my dad's from Houston, Fifth Ward, and he had moved to Atlanta when he met his fiance, and he fell in love with Atlanta. He fell in love with his fiance, and he was just like, "I'm moving up here." It was, I mean, I can't blame him because the house he was staying in here in Houston with him and my uncle was like a trap house. Like no lie, it was like a trap house. And so the house that the lady stayed in at ATL was a house on the hills. Beautiful view, a 4 or 5 bedroom, 2 story. I mean, it was a you know beautiful home, a hell of a upgrade from where he was at to where he was going. So anyway, he got down there. He didn't have no income. They had sold a house. They owed a lot of taxes, back taxes on the house, and so they had to pay that out. So he didn't really have a huge chunk. So he started Ubering. By the time he started Ubering, that's when he had got diagnosed with cancer, and so he put a stop to the Ubering, and was fighting the cancer therapy. Well, anyway, fast forward to the 2017 situation. He wanted to do holistic, but he didn't really have the funds for that holistic, cost. And I don't think the insurance that he had, which was Obamacare, could cover it. And so it got to the point where he was calling friends and seeing if they could, if he could borrow money and maybe they could donate to the holistic treatments. And my dad don't have no wealthy friends, and so they were just giving what they could. But my dad just he did not want to do chemo. And so by the time we was trying to come up with funds for holistic and get his treatment started, he was deteriorating. Like he was deteriorating. Like he was having memory loss and losing a lot of weight and things of that nature. And I didn't like what I was seeing from my dad, and I was trying to tell him like that it's best that you can just do the chemotherapy treatment. Like they're gonna do it. We don't. It's not. We don't have to have funding to do that. And so by the time he realized that, we went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "It's too late. Like you too sick. Like there's nothing we can do." And that was like it just felt like a train hit my chest. All I could do was just go into prayer, um, and just pray that God's will, that a miracle, that He would heal my father. Um, and God's ways is not like our ways. So some things He will do, and some things, He won't. But just seeing my dad deteriorate like he did, man, was something I knew. It's like I knew. the day was coming. And so when we put him in that hospice, we put him in a hospice facility in ATL. Mind you, I'm working, so I'm kind of going back and forth, flying out to Houston, back to ATL, flying to Houston, back to ATL. This time when I flew back to ATL, because I'm, seeing about my dad, a hurricane had hit Houston, and I couldn't even fly out if I wanted to, because this was the worst hurricane that has hit Houston, I think, ever. And so I'm here with my dad, and it kind of worked out because I get to spend more time with him, before you know, and we talking, and he telling me, you know what, I'm not scared to die. And I'm not scared to die. I lived, pretty long life, and my dad, he died in his 50s, and I made the choice to do what I needed to do what I did, and that's just what it is. But he's like, just take care of your brother, you know, keep take care of your kids, take care of your wife. He also told me he didn't want to be cremated. So I don't know about that because we don't have no money. My dad we had no life insurance, so we don't have money like that to bury you. But that time during the hurricane, it was good that I got to spend time with my dad, but also I was very concerned, and I felt like I couldn't do anything because my wife and my boys were stuck here in Houston dealing with this hurricane, and I at one point I couldn't get in contact with them. Like everything was just wasn't connecting, and so when I finally got in contact with them, they had to go to my mama house, and they said it was okay, but they couldn't leave because the water was, you know, up to the driveway, so you could not leave. And so I'm like, man, as a father, as a husband, I can't be there for my family. And then I'm here, and my daddy is, dying. So it was a real tough time. It was a real tough time. At the same time, my barbershop is dying. My barbershop, before that summer hit, I had finally filled all my stations. Like I want to say I had 5 stations. I had finally filled them all. By the end of the summer, I only had 2 barbers left. Anybody that know the barber industry, the summer times are tough because people don't get their haircut as frequently. Especially kids, like they're out of school, so they don't need to really get their haircut. And so, running my shop, dealing with that, ultimately come to the conclusion to my barbers and telling them, hey, I'm gonna close the shop. Lease is up in November. I'm gonna close it. Just let y'all know. I've had it for 2 years, and it's just been a struggle. I've been losing money, and so dealing with all that, man, I just felt I felt destroyed. I felt like everything that I loved, I could, I was losing. I failed, and I could do nothing. 2017 was a tough year. So ultimately, the hurricane passed, and my family went back to their home, and they was okay. I finally flew back in a couple weeks, not even a couple weeks, I think maybe a week and a half later. Um, Hospice called me and they said, "Hey, if you can fly down, come on, fly down. We don't, we think your dad is he's pretty much on the tail end of his life." And so I flew down, and he just looked like skin and bones. My dad was 6'2", good good weight. He wasn't fat, but good weight on him, man. He just was skin and bones, and I seen him. He seen me. He recognized me. I hugged him, held his hand, cried, and my brother finally, his plane finally arrived, and my brother came in and he hugged him, and that night, my dad passed on. That night, he passed away. And it's like he waited for my brother to get there before he died. Like he needed to see both of us. He needed to be around both of us before he passed away. And I miss my dad, man. And it was tough. Like I said, my dad died, my shop died, and my birthday was the next week. I was just numb. Felt like for a minute, and then overwhelmness of sadness. Being in Atlanta, people calling me to make plans for his death, burials, things of that nature. Because he had formed a community in Atlanta with his fiance at local church and friends and stuff. They wanted to have a service for him there, but I wasn't. I'm like, that's fine, y'all can, but I'm gonna have a service for my dad in Houston with his friends and family at home. And so ultimately, we ended up having two services for him, and we had to cremate your daddy. Um, we cremated him, and so we had a service here in the city in Fifth Ward. All his friends and all them came, and it was a good homegoing. But my birthday it was my birthday. It just didn't feel the same. Because normally my dad called me, I hear his voice, and I wasn't gonna hear his voice no more. I have a voicemail with him on it that I have today, and I go back on that voicemail sometime and listen to him. It's hey son, this your dad. Give me a call. Um, so when I got back home to Houston, I went to my shop, said my goodbyes to my barber. Stay man brought me a cake and was telling me give me condolences. Man, I love them guys, and that was tough too because watching my last barber finish the client's head and get their stuff and walk out, and everybody clean their stations up, looking at what I built and the dreams I had for it. And the last barber walked out and shut that door. I just broke down. I broke down because I was looking at the chairs when my dad had came down from ATL and brought his friends with him, and they was he was so proud that his son had opened up a shop, had his own business, something he preached to me my whole life growing up. Hey, get your own, be an entrepreneur. These people, man, they can take your job from up under you at any time that they want to. And so looking at that and seeing looking at my barbershop and just reminiscing, it was very discouraging. Very discouraging. 2017 was a tough year. It was a tough year, but you got to keep going. For a long time, like that depression just followed me. I didn't want to do any other businesses. I felt like I was being cold with people, and I just I didn't want to feel failure anymore. I didn't want to feel like something was taken away from me because that's how I felt. I felt like my dad was taken away from me. I felt like my business was taken away from me. I just felt like I failed. I felt like I could have did more for him. I felt like my money should have been better. I could have had him, having holistic treatments. He probably would have been here by now. Been here. I just felt like a failure, and it took a long. I ain't gonna say a long time, but it took me a while to pull myself back up. And motivational videos, my wife, my mom encouraged me to let me know that you are not a failure. Things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. God gives and God takes away. But hope is still should be still present for you. There's a reward for you. There's a blessing for you. Life will throw different challenges, and some of them you will fail, but those are battles. That is not your life. There's more purpose to your life. We can't control life and death. We can make good choices and prevent certain things, but ultimately, at some point, we will die. And we can't control what people do, but you can control what you do. God has not forgotten about you. But thank y'all for listening, man. Like I said, man, 2017 was a tough year. And if you're going through maybe a situation similar to what I was going through, you lost a loved one, you lost a business, life will throw you challenges. But you were created to overcome. You were created to overcome. And through him, if you don't believe in Jesus, hey, I invite you, I recommend that you try him. If you never tried him before, he is the God of breakthrough, of hope and peace. Keep going. Don't be discouraged. Keep going. There's more to life. There's a reward for you.